Welcome back. I have the honor of Tom Cook joining us on stream today. Tom is a very well-established animator. He is now retired, so the animation industry doesn't have his influence as it had over many, many years, and with Filmation, Hanna-Barbera, and others. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
How's your booth doing? You get a lot of folks coming by, and
It's always nice to meet the fans, and it's still amazing after 40 years later that the fans are so rabid about the shows that I worked on.
and it's a crazy gamut of people now, right? Because the ages go from our age all the way up to.
That's one of the best things is that parents have showed their kids, DVDs or Netflix or whatever. And I remember it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, some little kid ran up and goes, "Look, Dad, He-Man." And I'm going, how does this kid know He-Man? And that's what it was. He'd seen it on Netflix.
Oh, wow. So his dad probably took a little
And I'm
nostalgic
sure
tour
said,
with
yeah.
his kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think we have some images, too, that represent some of the work that Tom's done. And there it is, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, that's the big one.
I think that's the DVD cover for the best of. How did you, there's a lot about this, by the way, and there's some information about this because the toy tie-ins on the toys that made us on Netflix, not to mention this is usually streaming on Netflix. Right. How did you get involved with Funimation and?
Well, I originally started at Hanna-Barbera back in 1978. I was a transit bus driver in LA and took a class in comic book art. And the teacher liked my stuff and said, I could recommend you. He worked at Hanna-Barbera. He said, I could recommend you for a class to learn basic animation. So I was like, wow, that's not what I expected from this class.
That's a great motivator, having somebody really appreciate it.
And then 3 weeks later, I got hired to work on Super Friends. And I really didn't know what I was doing. And he said, don't worry, you're going to be an assistant to an animator. So you're going to learn through him the process.
So were you doing like intermediate frames or?
I was doing in-betweens, cleaning up the animator's work, and I did that for about 2.5, 3 years until finally I had done enough. I do work at night and bring it in and show the directors, and they finally, right in the middle of a show called Black Star.
We have that image too. Black Star is actually one of those ones that I saw. Unfortunately, some of these are coming in low res. Apologies. Some of this stuff. Like I was looking at your resume and I was like, it was taking me on this nostalgic trip because I remember Black Star was one of those ones that like it was a little bit older and it didn't have a very long run,
right.
But whenever it would come on in syndication, I was just always thrilled to see it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about Black Star.
Well, I was working as an assistant on it, and then, like I said, I was showing the work. You would take the work over to what they called the video department, and the guys would shoot my scenes that I had come up with, and then I would asked the directors to come and look, what do you think of this? And finally I did this really nice scene of Superman, and they said, wow, that looks really good. And they said, okay, we're going to give you your first batch of animation work, and if you continue doing good stuff like this, we'll keep you on as an animator.
Awesome.
And luckily I never looked back, and from then on I was an animator.
Awesome. I think we have some Super Friends stuff as well. You can just page through those and we'll kind of go off topic a little bit.
The first thing, Super Friends was the very first thing I ever worked on.
As an animator, as a full animator?
That's as an assistant when I first got hired.
Okay, this was the very early days.
Right, that was the very first thing when I first got hired.
And then He-Man the Masters of the Universe was a little bit more advanced in the career. And then I saw Shazam in there.
Yeah.
The Power Hour. That was very
Shazam,
early.
Super Power Hour, yep. And it was an hour long, and they also had something called Hero High that was with it.
Right.
And but I was more of a superhero kind of guy, so I loved working on Shazam.
What is your favorite superhero franchise that you got to work on?
Yeah, famous one. Gosh.
Well, what do you? I mean,
my favorite show was Thundar the Barbarian.
Oh my goodness.
That's the one I like the best.
With empowered by the mighty Sun Sword, breaking his bonds.
Yeah.
With
Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel, and of course Jack Kirby had his hand in this.
He did.
He was one of the designers of the characters, and he was one of the big heroes that I had. So I got to meet Jack Kirby and work with him throughout the series. And super nice guy, gave me his phone number and address to come on over to the house. How often do you have one of your legends tell you that?
Well, you must have been doing the job right? To have that kind of respect from him.
It was great. It was great.
That's awesome. This is one of my favorites as growing up. Again, like on Saturday mornings,
Yes.
this was my bowl of cereal. Sit down, don't move anywhere. Watch this show right here.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And working as an animator, kind of talk about the career part of it is that and obviously there's a ton of stuff going in. I might be biased to pick these ones as the ones that I want to talk about most, but you have a ton of work going, spanning your entire career as an animator. Do you find, did you find more that you stayed in like an individual contributor role, like once you got to the animation point where you're a senior animator and focusing on that, or did you, a lot of artists, they diverge, like animation's very technical, right? Was it something that benefited from a focus?
What happened was, especially when He-Man came on, it was the very first syndicated show, so it was on Monday through Friday instead of just Saturday morning.
Right.
So now instead of having a 13-episode season, which is like Scooby-Doo was 13 episodes, and they would play, like 4 weeks of repeats, and then you'd start the new season. Well, with He-Man, it was 65 episodes per year instead of just 13. Well, if you figure out 52 weeks, and we got 65 episodes to do, so we had to do more than an episode a week. And so there really wasn't much time. That was it. I was an animator on He-Man and just keep working.
Yeah, and just sit down and focus and make it happen.
That was really where my, I wasn't really interested in storyboarding or anything like that. I liked making the characters move.
Right.
And I didn't even realize I had the ability to do it. When I got the job, I was really worried I wasn't going to make it at all. Because I never, I didn't even know how to do an in-between, and they hired me.
Right.
So luckily, the animator I worked with was really nice, and he helped me learn some of the basics.
It's great when you find a leader in a workplace who can be a mentor and bring you on board, because
Exactly.
nobody knows everything, and it's really
without
kind of
him,
unfair.
I don't know what I would have done, because the whole concept I understood, but to actually put it into motion was, I needed him to really show me, no, do this.
Right. Here's how you add the impact.
Yeah.
Here's how you
Yeah.
What do they always call it? The
And then
anticipation
after
of the
about
movement.
2 or 3 weeks into it, he finally said, you're picking this up really fast. And I said, okay, that's good. So I was, like I said, I was a bus driver in L.A. and I actually didn't quit my bus driver job. I just took a leave of absence because I was afraid I was just going to crash and burn.
Oh, yeah.
And,
that's the old imposter syndrome. We all have a little bit.
It was such a good job that I didn't want to just throw it away. And then after a couple months, that's when the animator complimented me, and I said, okay, it's time to get rid of the bus driver job and just focus on this.
That's awesome.
And it worked out.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that for this long career. And if you look up Tom's resume, you're going to see cartoons that you loved, Saturday morning, Sunday morning cartoons, from now until the 2000s. And what other cons are you going to be at in the next few months?
The next con I'm at is in Huntsville, Alabama. And there's a St. Louis Wizard World. I'm going to do that one. I'm actually going to Chile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been
That's
to
awesome.
Ecuador and I've been to Dubai. But the people that ran the Ecuador one have invited me to their new one they're doing in Chile, so I'm going to do that. Mexico City last year, that was really good. It was a ToyCon, similar to this first ToyCon I'd been to.
That's awesome.
And it was really focused on He-Man, so it was a really big deal for me. It was like
right, so they probably treat you like a king.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh, it was so great. They even made a bust of me. It's
That's
just really,
awesome.
Really weird. I come walking in and they hand me this thing and it looks just like
it. It can be sometimes confusing. You like to get an honorary like that. You're like, how do I respond to this?
It was really cool though. And, so I'm all over the place and do a lot of the Wizard Worlds because there's so many of them. But certain ones I'm booked somewhere else. Like next week I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. Now there's a Cleveland show.
Right.
That I usually do. Well, I had to bypass that one.
Sure.
To take this other one. But, having Alan Oppenheimer here, who's the voice of Skeletor, we hit it off 2 or 3 years ago. We did a show together.
Do you know Alan?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna ask for you to introduce me because I want to try to get him on the show tomorrow
Alan's
if I can.
a really nice guy. Yeah, he's a really
That's
nice
awesome.
guy.
His voice is so one of those iconic. Like you couldn't have had any other voice for Skeletor.
Well, then you go through Filmation's history, and Ming the Merciless and Flash Gordon was Alan.
Yeah.
The Overlord in Black Star was Alan.
He's just got this. Yeah. There's just this sinister yet vulnerable comedic quality to his performances that it's unbelievable.
That he was also Man at Arms.
But that's his serious voice. That's his
that
like.
was just his regular voice. And then he was also Merman.
Oh yeah, no,
He did all the bubble noises and stuff with his voice.
I saw him do the bubble noises live, and it blew me away that wasn't an effect. He was doing it like while he's speaking. It's amazing.
So we do a lot of shows together. We do panels and stuff, and it's always fun working with Alan.
That's awesome. Do you have a social media or a website that people can check out?
Tom Cook Animator. My name usually pops up, and then you can follow me. And that I usually post when I'm going to what show and that sort of thing. Plus, you can ask if you wanted a sketch of one of your favorite characters. I can do that for you.
That's awesome.
And so it's a new world, Facebook, but I finally got onto it thanks to my wife, and it's paying dividends. I mean, it's really nice. I did an interview with the local station in Portland last weekend, and boy, posted that, and man, it's as close to viral as I'm probably going to get.
Right, and you can do that, and we'll of course provide you some links to this stuff that you could appreciate that very much. Yeah. And Facebook is an amazing place for that, and all the social media. Like I do follow a lot of the other animators that I enjoy, like Ralph Bakshi and other folks, and like there's a Frank Frazetta page that follows his estate, and his estate posts stuff, and it's a way to really connect with people. And another thing that brings me to the question: we have a Patreon that we use have our stuff be fan funded and be free that way. It's something that you might as well consider. And also, so everybody, help me in thanking Tom for joining us, and go check out his pages. Get some commissions in. Get your favorite, maybe shop some Tila and He-Man relationship images. Do you entertain those types of crazy things? Yeah. See, there's shippers out there. There's got to be, right? So anyway, thanks a lot again for joining us today, Tom.
My pleasure.
Have a great rest of the show, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Awesome.
And stick around tomorrow. We're going to be, we're going to be broadcasting the panels in the other room once we get a chance to take a quick break. But we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. with the stage show with more guests that we are going to go out there and get for you today. And we'll see you back here at 10 a.m. until 12 tomorrow. And we'll be shutting down when the panels are done. So stick around and watch the panels, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks for joining us.